What's up? Welcome. Week 3 of the podcast here. Thanks for tuning in once again. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for us. It'd mean a lot. Help us grow. This week, man, it gets feisty right off the bat. We talk a lot about the NFL, and then we talk about MLB and the restarting of their season. Anyways, enjoy.
All right, good afternoon, guys. If you didn't really know, this is actually take 2 of our podcast. My laptop died before, and usually in my normal work, I would make a lame small talk joke like, haha, we're all managing this technology thing. But who cares? Whatever. We're testing out the podcast thing, and Ethan and Paul Michael are actually letting me start it out today. I don't know if that's because they finally come around to their senses or if they're just tired of me asking and tired of me talking anyway. So today we want to talk about all things NFL because let's be honest, we all miss football and we all miss the NFL. We're going to be talking about the biggest people that are still free agents in the NFL. We're going to talk about our favorite quarterback and wide receiver duos and some other NFL news like the latest with Earl Thomas, and we'll get to that later. But just for starters, I am definitely on the side of the wife. But guys, NFL free agencies, who are you most surprised is still there?
Well, the name that obviously jumps off the page to everybody is Cam Newton. He's former MVP, former Super Bowl quarterback, but, you know, there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole, and I'm probably one of them, honestly, because of his past and his mishaps and how he acts. He just seems like he wouldn't be a good teammate or a good fit to a lot of systems still in need. But, you know, that's just a guy that still – he jumps off the page at you.
I will have to disagree with that. I think that a lot has changed for him since the whole college thing and all the college scandals with the still on the laptop and all that. But he in Carolina, he was in the community. People loved him. He did a lot for the community. Some might say that he didn't have the best attitude in the past about playing time and all that stuff, and with his injuries being injury prone, so that a lot of people called him soft and he was injury prone. So I think that had a lot to do with a lot of people being scared about signing him, especially with this coronavirus. You can't really work out in person for people. You can't really test them and everything. But I think that him saying to be a backup, that he's willing to be a backup, is going to be good for him. I think a lot of people like that.
Yeah, I think it's time to get rid of the whole Cam Newton's a bad guy, bad team player memo. I mean, I get it. This is coming from someone who is a Florida fan. When he got kicked out of Florida, I was pissed. I mean, this guy could have been the guy coming in after Tim Tebow. Florida State was in their hands. I get it. But what has Cam Newton done in the NFL that portrays that he's a bad guy? I mean, honestly, like, he has this bad stigma around him from college, but, I mean, come on now. Let's let it go. I mean, he seems like he does great things in the community. Okay, he had a bad outburst after the Super Bowl. But, I mean, a lot of people are going to do that. But I think for him to say, hey, I'm willing to be a backup, there's a lot of quarterbacks of his talent and his caliber that would not say that and be waiting around for that. And I think that says a lot about Cam Newton. And, yeah, I mean, he's injury prone. That kind of scares us. But, I mean, his talent and size, I mean, I think he could easily still be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. I'm not arguing you that he's not good enough or talented enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And also, I never said he was a bad guy. I said he might come off as a bad teammate. That stems from Cam Newton's tendency to be kind of a selfish guy. He's always, even in the way he dresses and the way he acts towards the media, he's a look at me guy. I've got on a big pink suit and a stupid
That doesn't
fedora.
necessarily mean that he's selfish, though.
Yeah, what is that? I don't understand where the stigma came from in the NFL. Where, like, if you dress like this in the NFL, you're, like, judged for being about me guy. But, like, look at the NBA. I mean, NBA players dress like that and you're praised for it. So I don't know why it's so different in the NFL, especially for a quarterback. I think people have these higher expectations for a quarterback to be like, everyone's supposed to be a composed Peyton Manning, Tom Brady guy, show up in your black suit. But I mean, come on now, it's 2020, but also, like, these quarterbacks are allowed to have pride in themselves. Let's be honest, everyone at this level is a little cocky.
And football's fun. You're supposed to do this stuff to make it fun, keep the people interested, make it fun for yourself, so you keep doing it. It's your job. It's what you want to do. It's what you love, what you grew up on. So if dancing when you score a touchdown helps you have fun, then have fun. I mean, I'm one of the biggest Deshaun Watson fans there are, but he celebrates after he scores touchdowns, and there's nothing coming from him coming about that.
Dude, Cam Newton celebrates every time he hits the first down. He jumps up and dances and freaking dabs and points and all this crap. He just needs to play the game.
I get it. Gets a little.
How are you gonna cut me off? I haven't cut you off yet. He needs to play the game, lead his team, be a quarterback, a guy who the team is built around. If your quarterback is out here looking like a fool, then it makes the rest of your team look bad. Even the stupid crap where he had to sit a first quarter or first drive because of not wearing a tie. That's not what an NFL quarterback does. That's college. That's peewee stuff, dude. That's ridiculous.
But in Carolina, the team got behind that. They like that. That's what drove them.
They like that their quarterback had to sit out a first quarter because he refused to wear a tie. That's childish.
Not that, but the celebration and all the stuff. They enjoyed the commotion. They enjoyed the dancing.
It was fun when they were
getting together after they score a touchdown. Come pose for a picture on the sideline. They love that stuff. That's what helped their season be so good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just comes from personal opinion. You're letting your heart let you get personal. I mean, if a receiver celebrates, everyone's like, "Oh, he's so great." You know, someone jumps in the Salvation Army bin around Thanksgiving or Christmas time. We're like, "Oh, he's so nice, ha, he jumped in the bin." But then it's for some reason we have this higher expectation for a quarterback to be like, not that. I get maybe he's the leader of the team, but like, there's nothing wrong with a quarterback who likes to celebrate. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you want to celebrate every first down. Who cares if you're getting first downs? You know, who really cares if you're pointing every time? You know.
Well, all I'm saying is the best team players, the best leaders and quarterbacks, the people you always hear being the centerpiece of a franchise, have never been flamboyant, childish, and ignorant the way Cam Newton has been, in the way that he refused to wear a freaking tie. Anyways.
Okay, we act really like this is some
there's
new
other
thing.
Free agents.
No, we forget that. I mean, come on now. I mean, Joe Namath was a wild guy. It's just we're living in these times that we don't think about. We think everybody was, you know, a composed Tom Brady, you know, Dan Marino, whatever. But come on now, quarterbacks have had wild lifestyles too.
How many? I mean, you got freaking Steve McNair and freaking Joe Namath. And Steve McNair was never a guy that was the face of the Chicago Bears franchise either.
I know. I just think that social media.
It's not Steve McNair. Brain fart.
Social media now lets us, you know, see how these guys dress and act, and 24/7 we know what they're doing. We're just because we might not have known it 20 years ago what these guys were doing or what they were wearing when they went out to dinner in Miami in the summer, doesn't mean that they weren't still living those kind of lifestyles, you know?
Also, now everything's about building your own brand, getting your publicity, and that's part of his brand. That's what he does.
That brand's not treating him too well, considering he's not getting too much interest in free agency, and the Panthers decided they were going to get rid of him. By the way, I'm not that stupid, and I know that it was Jim McMahon and not Steve McNair, and I'm very sorry. Anyways, moving on, because there's other free agents out there that we need to talk about. Let's talk about some of those. Maybe good fits for Devontae Freeman. Maybe defense, you know, Clowney, Aqib Talib, Eric Reed, all still on the board. What do y'all think are some good fits here for free agents? Cam included. We're not going to leave Cam out of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it all depends on – I think a lot of these people, they're good fits in multiple places, but the coronavirus is limiting them. I think they need to meet with them. Zoom meetings to meet with the team officials is kind of hard to make everything work to come off as the person you are. So I'm thinking that with all this ending up a little bit, states have starting to open back up, especially around Atlanta and Carolina and all these places. Teams might end up starting to bring in more players for free agency and help opening up spots for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one for me, or probably for a lot of us that jumps out of the page, is you're like, how is Clowney still a free agent? You know, he just posted the videos, you know, saying he's working out. I mean, I get it. People are scared of his injury. He wants a lot of money, but it's like, come on, who wouldn't want him on their defense still? I mean, it's just crazy. But yeah, I do think, you know, the coronavirus has affected a lot of this, but the NFL has still been doing a lot. I mean, they've debatably, you know, they've been putting more stuff out. They still have the draft. So I'm kind of surprised that they haven't done more with a lot of these guys that are still free agents. But I guess it does depend on the cities that are looking at them too, because a lot of cities have different lockdowns, like you said. Atlanta's pretty open now, but a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're talking about good fits here, right? Because I'm talking about Clowney. There's a lot of teams that need a pass rush. I think a big one, which would be a really good fit for him. I don't know if they have the cap space or not, but he'd be an addition to a already really strong defense in Baltimore. Baltimore is actually in need of outside linebackers. Even though they have Judon, he was pretty solid off the edge for him. But Clowney could just bring a whole nother aspect of that Baltimore defense and make them even scarier than they already are. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but we can dream. That would be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, another thing I could see if somehow he could work out a price range with Seattle going back there, that was a good place for him. They loved him there. They just didn't want to pay him the money that he wanted. So
Yeah.
I think if they get that going, if they can figure
Oh,
out
yeah,
the
he
money,
was.
then I think he's still going to be a good fit there. I think he'll be a good fit anywhere.
Yeah.
He's one of
Anywhere,
the best pass rushers.
dude. Seattle. I feel like a lot of people back home here didn't really recognize him much, but I feel like he played some of his best ball for Seattle this
I
year. He
agree
was a
too. Yeah.
freaking. Although his pass rush numbers hasn't always been there. He's a complete defensive end. He's not just a pass rusher. He's really good in the
Yeah.
run game. I couldn't think of a guy I'd rather have coming out the edge, to be honest.
Yeah, size, speed, strength, everything.
There's a couple good running backs still on the board too. Two starting guys, but in the NFL, running backs can kind of become interchangeable. But both Lamar Miller, and
Oh.
Lamar Miller and Devontae Freeman are both available.
Yeah.
That could turn some heads there. I feel like Lamar Miller at this point in his career might turn into maybe not a primary back, but he'd be solid for somebody.
Yeah, I think he towards the end of his career in Houston, I think he showed that he would be able to come in and be a capable second back when your starting running back gets a little tired every now and then. He'll have enough to come in, and you won't be that big of a drop off for a couple plays that you need him to be there.
Yeah.
And I think with Devontae, I think that he could still sneak in somewhere and be a starting running back. I guess he is kind of getting older, and as you said, the running backs don't stay around that long in their careers. But I could see him going somewhere and just go in and be a backup and then work his way into being a starter somehow.
Somewhere.
No, I think Devontae Freeman's still got a lot left in him. I mean, I've had him in fantasy football. I don't know how. It seems like every year somehow I either end up picking him up or he's there probably just because he's been around so long. I did see something the other day about a rumor of him going to the Bucks, which would be pretty fitting with all the other old guys they got there now. But I don't know. I don't see him going to the Bucks. I do think like the Jets or the Jaguars seem like a good landing spot for him. Just some teams that need a running back. And it seems like those are the kind of teams that, these kind of guys usually land at later in their career.
Well, the Jets are probably off the board for Devontae because, they just got – we're going to talk about that – just got Frank Gore.
Yeah, Frank Gore.
I don't know if you saw that yet, but he's accompanying what they think is Le'Veon Bell. There's no telling with Le'Veon Bell. He's all over the freaking board. But, I mean, that'd be a good one too. But as far as Devontae Freeman's future in the league, I feel like he's going to turn into – rather than an every down back, he'll probably just be a situational back, Deion Lewis type, pair him up with a more power back, kind of how I thought that the Titans would be a good fit, depending on how they're going to start using Deion Lewis. I don't remember seeing much of him towards the end of last year, but they could start using Freeman as kind of their third down guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he has much left to offer as a in between the tackles runner, but he's still a weapon that would be very useful to plenty of teams out there.
Yeah, and he's got pretty capable hands. He's not a running back with brick hands that drops everything. So if some team needs him to come in and work his way into being kind of like a third down back, if they needed that, he could probably be capable of that.
Well, I was just thinking, is Eric Reed still a free agent?
He is, yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's one I'm kind of interested in seeing where he would end up. I think he's still got a lot left in him. I mean, he had a really good season last year.
Yeah, I liked him with the Panthers a lot. I thought that was a really good fit for him. I guess they were just moving on these.
Yeah, I did too. Because when the Panthers signed him, I was a little, it was a little debatable. I was like, I'm interested to see it. He like really surprised me. I was pleasantly surprised. So I was kind of surprised that we ended up letting him go. Yeah, I'll be interested to see where he ends up. I think I saw maybe Dallas a while ago, but I don't know. I'm kind of surprised he's still out
I
there.
think I think Dallas won't work out because of he's such good friends with Kaepernick and all that issues in the past. So I don't think Jerry Jones would be happy with that.
You
Yeah,
went there.
but I think it comes down to it. This is a whole different debate that we probably don't want to get into right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, how much do these guys really care about that, or do they just care about how you can play? I think the Panthers were just one example about that. Is they were like, we just want you to play.
I think most
They
teams don't care about that, but I think Cowboys is one team that do care. Jerry Jones was very vocal with the whole.
I don't know. The Cowboys take a lot of guys with questionable backgrounds, though. But
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
whole other. I might be a little anti-Cowboy on that one, but there's a whole bunch of teams out there that do need help in the secondary, and there's more names out there in the secondary than Aqib Talib, I'm an idiot. Than Eric Reed, such as Aqib Talib.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good fits. The Cowboys being one of them. At corner, really need something to replace Byron Jones, who I don't know if he got traded or just signed he got signed by the Dolphins.
Yeah.
That was like their biggest piece in the secondary. Aqib Talib could step in and serve as like a transition piece, even though Aqib Talib has always been a playmaker for them at corner. Another team that's needed help in the secondary has been the Raiders, even though they seem to be trying to go younger. I feel like Talib and even Eric Reed could step in there, help out.
Yeah, I think if they weren't so set on the younger class, like trying to build everybody up, I think that both those would be good fits there. But I just think they're set on trying to start young and build up that team how they want it.
Yeah, I think they are set on building young, but I also think Gruden's not afraid to take a chance. If he likes you, he likes you, and he'll just kind of do it. So I do think the Raiders are always there. I feel like for a lot of people's landing spots, just because they're always in discussion. I mean, even with Tom Brady, they were up there with the discussion. But I think Gruden, he's the type of guy that he's like, hey, you want to come play for a year? We'll sign you for a 1-year deal. Let's see how it goes.
Makes sense.
Anyways, needing to move on here to our next part here in our NFL segment. We're going to be talking about who we think are the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the league right now, as well as quarterback wide receiver duos that we are excited for and may have not played together yet. I'm not going to lie. I've heard Summer and Paul's top 3 for the QB wide receiver duos, and even mine might surprise some people. So take it away.
Oh. Are we ranking them, or are we just listing out the ones that
well, you can rank them. I mean,
let's just hear it. Let's just hear you first. Let's hear you first.
My first? Oh, okay. Well, one of my top ones would be Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. I think that both of them are kind of older compared to some of these players, and I think that they show that they produce. Matt Ryan, he's always up there in the amount of yards he throws per year. And then Julio, though he's been lacking a little bit in touchdown receptions, he always produces, and he's always somebody people consider their top 5 or 3 receivers in the league.
Yeah, I think Matt Ryan and Julio Jones is definitely one of those long-term duos that you just think of. And I mean, you'll probably hear stories about them later, just talking about the bond they had or whatever that was, just because I feel like they've been around so long. I do think they're kind of on the down slope here, but my top one is Drew Brees and Michael Thomas, who they're both older, but they're still there, y'all. I could even see them contending for a Super Bowl this year. I know things are a lot different in the NFC South now, and I seem like I'm very conflicted in the NFC South when you've heard about my Panthers, Bucks debacles, and then now I'm praising Drew Brees and Michael Thomas at the Saints. But I don't know. I just think, Drew Brees is debatably, this is a different argument too, the best quarterback in the league, and Michael Thomas, one of the best receivers. It's hard to not think they're the best duo in the league. Look at them. They've shown they've stood the test of time too.
All right, let's set a few things straight here. First off, Summer, Michael Thomas is not old at all. Paul, Julio Jones is washed. On top of that, Drew Brees is definitely not the best quarterback in the league anymore. He is one of the best of all time, but he's not the best quarterback in the league right now. You got to be crazy. And Michael Thomas is the best receiver of the league right now. Anyways, everybody here watching knows that right now the best quarterback receiver duo is obviously and clearly Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, based off of success, productivity. Let's just say that Pat Mahomes can throw the ball for a mile, and Tyreek Hill is probably the only person fast enough in the league that can outrun Pat Mahomes' arm. So I don't know. It's hard to beat Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill because Pat Mahomes is obviously the best quarterback in the league right now, and Tyreek Hill is probably, if not the best weapon in the league at any position offensively.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I just in my head when I just think towards when I think of top receivers, I think bigger bodies that can go up and get jump balls. But I agree, Tyreek Hill is one of the best receivers in the league, best weapons in the league, and Pat Mahomes obviously is the best quarterback. So
Yeah, it's hard to beat, but I don't know. I think it's easy to jump on this bandwagon. I mean, yeah, they're the fun duo right now. This is young, this is fun, this is exciting. But I mean, I don't know. You got to give guys like Pat Mahomes a couple years to really know. I mean, you got
he won an MVP and a Super Bowl.
I'm just saying, you got to look at like Dak Prescott. One year they're there, and then the next year it's like, what happened to this guy?
No,
you got to give it a couple years.
Mahomes won an MVP and a Super Bowl. Dak didn't do that.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if next season they're not as good.
Okay, well, I wouldn't.
You're going to be wrong.
Yeah, they're going to be good for a really long time. But that's not me discrediting Drew Brees and Michael Thomas because they're my number 2 on my list. That was an easy number 2. But it's just hard. Right now, like you even said, right now, it's hard to touch Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill for sure.
Yeah, no, I get that. But you know how these young guys are. I'll be interested to see how it goes. I am excited about Phillip Rivers and T.Y. Hilton. I think they're both some veteran guys that I think will click really well. There was some debate if Phillip Rivers was gonna retire and blah blah blah. But I think for him having a guy like T.Y. Hilton, I mean that helps him out a lot. Just them both being veterans, but also just like their knowledge of the game, and I think they're gonna click really well. I'm excited to see how that goes this year.
Yeah, for me.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say for my second one, I kind of just want to steer away from picking the same as anybody else. So I'm just going to throw out another one that was in contention for me. And I guess this one I'll go with Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf. I think that DK is young and people criticize his route tree and everything. But I think obviously Russ speaks for himself. I think everybody knows what he can do and all that stuff. And I think DK is capable of producing with him. I think he's physical. He's got the speed. He's got the strength, obviously. And I think his route tree is a little bit better than what people think it was. And I think he showed that this past year. I think he had a lot better season than, especially for me. I did not expect him to have this good of a season, but he produced, and I think it helped solidify his spot as both of them as a good combo. Not saying that I think they're probably in the top 5, but I'm just trying to separate and
mix it up. Well, the thing, DK is like a freaking piece of raw clay. He's freaking got all the credentials, size and speed. The route tree is what's holding him up, really. Russell, honestly, you've seen Russell do a lot there in Seattle with less talent. That's not counting Doug Baldwin, but he's had like mediocre at best receiving course throughout his career, and he's done very well with those. So I feel like he could take a guy like DK Metcalf and make him a star in this league for sure, even though they're probably not top 5 yet. They have the potential to be, which I like that. I already told y'all that my second was Brees and Michael Thomas, so we're not going to talk anymore about them. We've already kind of covered them, but all right. I'm kind of on the same level as Paul here, so don't jump down my throat. I'm a Redskins fan. This might be a little biased. I said that one of the best quarterback receiver duos in the league, Dwayne Haskins and Terry McLaurin. Don't jump down my throat. But Terry McLaurin showed that he's got everything that it takes to be a receiver one and a star receiver in this league and more, because he did it all for the Skins. He played all over the field. He was a deep threat, ran all the routes in the route tree, played in the slot some. He was just pretty much the Redskins' only threat on offense for most of the year. And Dwayne Haskins really started coming along at the end of the year. You saw it with two of his last games. He played really well against the Eagles and then well against the Giants until he got hurt. Haskins showed me something those last couple games. He took me from not having much hope to having all the hope in the world. So that's just something I'm looking forward to. But another duo I'm excited for, Paul, I'm really sure you're excited for. We should all be excited for Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins.
I was waiting on that one. I'm surprised that wasn't both of y'all's first one you said. I expected y'all to be bursting at the seams to be gushing over that one.
Well, it's
yeah. I mean, I was just trying to stick with people that we've seen together so far. But I mean, obviously, I'm very excited. DeAndre is, I think, is the best receiver in the league and one of my top players. And I think Kyler's a very, very exciting player to watch. I think, especially with Cliff Kingsbury, pairing them together, I think they can do a lot of things. And now that they have a receiver like DeAndre Hopkins that is going to catch the ball no matter where you throw it at him, I just think that they'll be able to do it all this season.
All right, I am really, in all seriousness, I am really excited for that one. I think DeAndre Hopkins is a great weapon for Kyler Murray. And like you said, I've been really interested to see what Cliff Kingsbury was going to do here. I mean, he had said that Kyler Murray was his guy and he was going to build on him. So, I've been kind of interested to see how good of a coach he really was and seeing what they could do there. And I think this is going to help them a lot for sure.
Let me tell you something. You got to think, okay, so DeAndre Hopkins played his career in Houston being like the only threat at receiver for the Texans. Most of the times he had a crap quarterback. You saw what he did, how he produced, and how good he was when he finally got a quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Nuke was even quoted to say that it don't matter who's throwing the ball. He's going to produce no matter what. But now you take that same guy, you move him to Arizona, give him Cliff Kingsbury instead of Bill O'Brien, and then pair him with one of the best receivers of all time, top 3, Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah, he's going to produce probably better than he ever has in his career. And he has a young, talented quarterback to help him out there. That's really exciting, especially as a Clemson fan.
Many drops coming from the Cardinals this season. Not a lot of drops.
I don't remember seeing Nuke drop a ball besides that
in
camp where he freaking dropped that ball against D'Angelo Hall, and then he did the whole, I fear God thing. But that's a whole different story.
I agree. Yeah, no, he dropped a few at the beginning of the season this year, but I think he ended up with like three drops. Not many.
Yeah, and Larry Fitzgerald has like more career tackles than drops, which is insane. He's the freaking GOAT, one of the best of all time. But that'll wrap that segment up for us. Moving on to our last NFL segment here. A little quick talk. This isn't completely about sports, but it is about somebody in sports. So we're going to be talking about the Earl Thomas scenario. I feel like somebody else should explain this one. Summer, maybe? You know all of what happened here?
A little bit. I've just read about it today. From my understanding, him and his wife got in an argument. His brother came and picked him up. She logged into his Snapchat and was trying to see where he was, and then she saw videos on his phone of him with another girl. So, she used the Snap location thing, I think, and went to the house. Apparently him and his brother had like an Airbnb they'd been renting out and like spending time with some girls. And apparently Earl Thomas had a pistol. So his wife knew where it was. She took it over there and she says she didn't know it was loaded, but apparently when she got there, she held him at gunpoint. She said she just wanted to scare him, but apparently the gun was loaded and the safety was off. So she pretty much almost shot him. He's like lucky to be alive. But, everyone's in uproar. Apparently she brought some friends over there with her and they had like knives and stuff and they were ganging up. She and her little posse did get arrested, but they've since been bailed out. Earl Thomas didn't get arrested. But, everyone's all appalled by this. But I'm like, come on now. I think a lot of these NFL guys cheat on their wives a lot. He did put out a statement. And he said, don't quote it, but he said something along the lines of like, just pray for us. Stuff like this happens in relationships. And I'm like, well, dude, when you cheat on someone, that's not like oops, we got in an argument. Like you fully intended on that. But I don't think it's going to affect his play at all or anything like that. Usually it doesn't. But, what do y'all think?
Well, one funny thing that I saw on Twitter today, and I honestly feel bad for finding it funny when I saw it, because when it was Emmanuel Echo's tweet about about this one because it's too close to home. I don't know why, but I just was like, I guess this is like a normal thing. A lot of people that have been in this situation, but then Emmanuel came out and said that it was because Emmanuel's brother and Earl Thomas were the same recruiting class, and they've been friends since Emmanuel was 16. So I felt bad laughing at it in hindsight, but it was kind of like made me think that it does happen more than it meets the eye.
Yeah, especially with a lot of these NFL players. I mean, you think about the lifestyles they live. It's always interesting when you hear about this kind of stuff. And it's like this guy that you see on the field and you're like, oh, I thought they were like such a normal guy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I saw something on Twitter and someone was like, well, they did have that giant lavish wedding, but Russell Wilson and Sierra were at the wedding. Like, that's supposed to make them like better people. I'm like, yeah, Russell Wilson and Sierra, I love them. They're a great couple. Russell Wilson's a great guy, but like, just because they're at the wedding doesn't make Earl Thomas a better guy. I don't know.
Tebow and Aaron Hernandez played on the same team. Doesn't.
I know, right? I mean, come on now.
Dude,
Ethan?
all I got to say about this whole situation is, okay, maybe two things. One, who blames the freaking wife for doing what she did? I think she's right. I mean, she wasn't having his crap. What'd she say? Dang, I posted a quote on Twitter today. She said something like, pulled up in there with a gun, pointing the gun at everybody, talking about, I got something for all y'all hoes now, or something like that. And
Yeah, I think that's what she told the girls that were there.
That's freaking hilarious. But we all know now that Earl Thomas could obviously never play for Bill O'Brien, no matter how good of a football player he is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, God forbid. That quote always gets me because it's like, I'm sure there's so many guys out there that have all these different girlfriends and all this stuff that it's like, come on now. If you start cutting guys because of that solely alone, which I don't think that is the only reason, there's a lot of guys who shouldn't be on football teams.
Plenty.
Yeah, I think what we learned from this is if you're going to go cheat on your wife, don't leave your snap location on. Don't leave your pistol at home loaded. And don't let people know where you're going.
I know.
That's all jokes, though. I was just joking.
I like that she pulled the gun. She wasn't afraid. She was ready to threaten him a little bit, or a lot, apparently, since it was loaded. That's a little bit of a mistake, but hey.
Paul, you ever get with a girl ever again? I'm showing them this clip. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Paul talking about this kind of stuff.
It's all jokes. All
right, we're moving on here. We done ditched summer, brought back boys time. We said that we were done with the NFL, but NFL schedules literally just released. What time is it? Yeah, literally just released about 30 minutes ago, and me and Paul are going to carry on a little bit more NFL talk. We're going to discuss the NFL schedule and some games that are intriguing to us, and talk about some primetime games and whatnot. Early in the season, there's a lot of games that really are really exciting games. It'll give you an early look at what the Bucs have as they play the Saints week 1, and the opening game is Texans-Chiefs. That's the first game of the regular season on Thursday Night Football. That's going to be pretty hype. Texans and Chiefs is always a really good game. I don't know about now.
Yeah, like a quarterback. It should so be a good quarterback matchup. Two of the best youngest ones.
It's pretty much going to come down to Deshaun versus Pat Mahomes, like always. They're doing.
Oh, yeah. Both quarterbacks are relentless. Don't want to go down. Don't want to lose.
Yeah, that's exciting. And everyone's been excited about the Bucs-Saints twice-a-year matchup that's going to be going on now. And we're getting that right off the bat. Week 1, we're going to have Brady and Breeze first thing. That's exciting, too. Week 1 is going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, and then another Tampa Bay game I'm looking forward to is in Week 12. They play Kansas City. I think it'll be pretty much any game against Kansas City is going to be a good game against Kansas City or the Ravens. But I want to see Tom Brady and his new weapons go up against Pat Mahomes and the same weapons he's always had, with adding Carlos Edwards. How do you pronounce his last name?
Clay, I don't know. Something.
Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. The running back from LSU they just drafted.
Little short dude.
Yeah, little short dude. Catches the ball good out of the backfield. I think he had 52 catches last year out of the backfield for LSU, which is kind of insane. But so I think that'll be a good offensive matchup. See the two of the probably greatest quarterback of all time go against the best quarterback in the game at the moment. See that duel out.
Well, I don't know. We just Brady might be able to hang with them in the sense because the Bucs defense. I mean, they have a pulse, so maybe they can stop. Well, not just any defense with a pulse stop the Chiefs, but maybe they'll have a shot to at least slow them down a little bit to allow Brady to keep up.
Hold them to one field goal and then just score touchdowns every other drive.
That's about all you can hope for.
Old-fashioned shootout.
Well, another thing that's exciting about this, the release of the schedule is the opportunity for young quarterback matchups right off the bat. Week 1, you got Bengals, Chargers. That's the 2 highest-rated quarterbacks out of the 2 of the 3 highest-rated quarterbacks out of this year's draft matching up Week 1. We're going to see how good Burrow and Herbert are fitting in with their respective systems with no regular season experience.
I could honestly see at that point Justin Herbert showing a little bit more than Joe Burrow because
I can see it.
Justin Herbert's inheriting a lot more power or weapons on the outside with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. Yeah. And, I mean, Joe Burrow, he's going to have T coming in out of the draft, but he's also got A.J. Green. So I think it could
end up being A.J. Green healthy.
Yeah, if A.J. Green is healthy, yeah. And I think it ended up being a good show out. But I just think that with the veteran receivers, the multiple veteran receivers that the Chargers have will help Justin Herbert show out a little bit better than the first overall draft pick.
We're going to get an early matchup of Mike Williams, T. Higgins.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're both going to be there. Dude, they're such similar players, and they're both wide receiver 2s.
I don't know how many of our viewers watched Clemson at the time when Mike Williams was there and then watch them again now with T, but the plays that were made are insanely
so similar. It's so similar.
Just throw the ball around them and they're going to make the catch.
Anyways, I guess we got to digress a little bit. But this early game of the year candidates happening week 3, Monday Night Football. You got Ravens Chiefs on Monday Night Football. That's probably going to be similar to what was it, 2 years ago when we had Rams Chiefs on Monday Night Football, and that was game of the year by far. I was like 100-something total points. I can see that coming week 3.
But the worst part about that, we got to listen to Booger call that game.
Dude, get Booger out of there, man.
How did he get lucky enough that game would fall into him?
They could have thrown anyone in there, and it could have been Booger, better than Booger, dude. I don't even want. Oh, God. I'd rather listen to freaking Collinsworth on Sunday night, honestly, and I'm not a big fan of Collinsworth either.
Yeah, it's just better than Booger's. I don't even know how to explain it. His sayings that are obvious, but like when he says, "They stopped him here because they played good defense," like it's obvious, but he still always feels the need that he has to say it. But another Ravens game that I'm really looking forward to is the Titans at Baltimore. I think that'll be interesting. I mean, as y'all know, Tennessee knocked the Ravens out of the playoffs, which came to a shock to a lot of people. This is kind of like a revenge game for them, and it's back at Baltimore, like it was like it was in the playoffs. So I think that Baltimore will have it for them this time, even though I'm a big Mike Vrabel and Ryan Tannehill guy now. But
yeah,
that's all new. You can call me bandwagon if you want. I don't know. I just hopped on that. But.
Yeah, I definitely see that game as a game where the Ravens come in there and revenge tour and just demolish the freaking Titans.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not hoping for that by no means, but I could definitely see it happen, and Lamar's going to come in there pissed off probably.
And I think Baltimore added a couple good defensive players that'll help them slow down that offense that they kind of had a hard time stuffing. Huh?
Yeah, Derrick Henry. That's their offense.
Yeah. They brought in Calais. The only guy's probably taller than him.
Well, I mean, dude, nobody was as hype as me for the freaking Titans to make that run they made, but I don't know if I see Tannehill repeating.
No, I don't know if I can see that either, but I was for it. I remember.
Oh, we can all hope, definitely. Brian Tannehill, man.
Was that when we were in New Orleans?
Yeah, we were in me and Paul were in New Orleans for the national championship. We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
but
that's a different story.
yeah, that was the week. That was the week when
we were in the mall and it was on
Ravens
the TV,
got upset.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Texans had the terrible game too.
Oh yeah, dude. That weekend was just awful. The Texans blew like a freaking 24-point lead to the Chiefs in the first half.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, but anyways, probably the last game. No, I got a couple more, but another exciting game is Week 13. You got Joe Burrow versus Tua Tagovailoa. Bengals versus Dolphins are in that train. If Tua Tagovailoa lasts that long and doesn't get hurt, we can only hope.
Yeah,
but
maybe if he does get hurt, it'll be something he can play through. But he's going to play through it.
Yeah. Oh, Tua's tough, but that don't.
No, he's fragile. He's fragile, but he isn't. Yeah. But he'll play through it if he can.
I don't know. Something at that point in the season, I don't know, dude. Something's telling me Tua's going to be.
Yeah, he might not be there.
Tua might be a little farther along than Joe is by then. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see it too. Yeah, Tua. I think if Tua wouldn't have got hurt, and he could have had a push for Joe for being the first pick in the draft, maybe if he was stayed healthy the whole time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, Tua, they got him a little bit of a. We hope they got Tua a little bit more protection on the OL down there. That might help him out. I feel like the Dolphins OL now after the draft and all could be a little bit farther along than the Bengals. Neither have a great OL by any means, but they also have a new 2 running back system down there. They got Jordan Howard and Breida. That could help them out a lot. They got Devontae Parker is a really good receiver. I don't know. The Dolphins, hey, they might be a sleeper.
I can see that. And then a Thursday night game that I'm looking forward to is Week 9, Green Bay at the 49ers. I don't know, something about Green Bay and the 49ers playing to me just as in my mind, it's going to be like a throwback, nice, hard-hitting game, and I'm just looking forward to seeing that one play out. 2 very tough teams that I could see going at it for a while. It probably won't be high scoring as some of these Kansas City, Baltimore games, but still.
Oh no, dude! I'm all for those freaking pounded out games. We want to see freaking give us Mostert versus Aaron Jones formation between the tackles every game. I'm there for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I like it.
But a little bit biased here, but considering there's no game, I'll get into this in a minute. There's no primetime games for me to look forward to as a Redskins fan. I guess I have to look forward to the Skins playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving now, because that's all I'm really going to get to see on national television. But yeah, I don't know. Moving on to all those primetime games, teams with primetime games, without primetime games. There was 8 teams that had a max of 5 primetime games, and you could probably guess all of them, but we don't have time for you to guess them all. But those 8 teams with the max primetime games are the Ravens, Patriots, Buccaneers, of course, 49ers, Cowboys, of course, Chiefs, Rams, and Packers. So all those, besides the Rams, that's kind of surprising out of all teams.
Yeah, I see that being a surprise, but I just think that they think LA is going to be such a big market that people, I think they're expecting them to have a big season, even losing Todd Gurley.
I feel like there's freaking perennial shoe-in primetime, either players like Tom Brady, Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers, or teams like the Cowboys and the Patriots. Those players or teams are always showing on prime time. I guess it's good for ratings or whatever.
The Patriots had 5?
Yeah, Patriots had 5. I actually kind of found that hard to believe too.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't guess that, but I completely understand why they're doing it, but I would not have guessed that.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. It's just so old to me being a Skins fan, dude. It gets so redundant, dude. I literally have to buy NFL Sunday Ticket if I want to watch my team play ever. Literally.
I guess I kind of never understood that since I was a Panthers fan always growing up, being able to watch them every weekend on the local channels.
Yeah. In case you're wondering why I'm so heated and so freaking annoyed by this whole thing, is that the Redskins literally have 0 primetime games for the whole season. None. They're not going to play Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night. None of it. They're playing at 1 o'clock. They have 1 p.m. games for every single week besides 2, and those are just 425 games. I mean, it's just it gets old as a
Pretty sure he
skin.
didn't look up and get a game against like the Cowboys on primetime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Play them twice a year. You think one of them probably would be primetime.
I guess I need to stop being a baby and move on. But something interesting. Well, 2 teams actually very interesting and shocking. You know, you may not know, but the Bills fan base have been complaining for a really long time about how many primetime games they have. You know, they've kind of got the short end of the stick, kind of like the Skins. But the Bills actually have 4 primetime games this year, which is huge. And their fan base is going crazy. Obviously, they always go crazy. But
yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with, I think Josh Allen's a good quarterback and all that. The team's is on a good having good progress right now. But I think the fans being out and like people know who like they know Bill. You associate Bills Mafia, the fan base, with Bills. Every time you hear it, every time you think of a Bills game, you think about the crazy tailgates and everything before the game. So I think it's built up such a huge following around the nation about all these people looking at the Bills that it's kind of forced the NFL to give them more primetime games.
yeah, and lastly, the Las Vegas Raiders also got 4 primetime games, which I mean, looking at their team, it would be surprising, but considering their move and their brand new freaking state-of-the-art stadium, I guess it makes sense. But the Raiders have 4 primetime games, and all of them are at home, which will be a good opportunity for them to show off their new stadium to the world pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's a lot to do with why they got primetime games.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Actually, the Raiders' first primetime game is week 2. They're playing the Saints on Monday Night Football at home. That's going to be really exciting to see.
Saints probably will.
Oh, yeah, Saints probably will win, but I'm excited to see that stadium.
Yeah, I'm excited for that game too.
You know, our boys are out there.
Yeah.
Well, we can pretty much wrap that subject up. Maybe we'll talk about something for you non-NFL fans. Moving on now, we're going to get into a little bit of Major League Baseball, not my strong suit, but recently the MLB told players to start getting in shape. And, Paul, lead us in.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good sign. I think he said probably somewhere in the end of June, beginning of July, they're going to try to get things started back going again. I think it's a good thing. And some people are debating whether they think they should shorten the season since a lot of people have concerns about how long the season of baseball is already. But then there's the people on the other side are true baseball friends that are through and through. They want it how baseball's always been. They want the long season. Can't think of how many games on top of my head right now. They want all those games. So, yeah, so they're it's causing kind of a controversy over that. But I could see why they would maybe go to a short season here because if they keep it long, then the World Series is going to be in November, December. And imagine if the Yankees and Tampa Bay play, then one game's going to be in perfect weather. The other one's going to be all the way up in New York in the middle of the winter. It's going to be freezing cold. It's going to probably have a little bit of competitive advantage to the Yankees compared to Tampa Bay. So I think that's one reason why. And it also just conflicts with the NFL and basketball if it goes down to that. Three biggest sports in America going on at one time, especially with basketball probably is just getting into the beginning of their season at that point. So there's a lot of fans watching it then. And football is kind of wrapping up at the time. And then baseball with the World Series and the playoffs. Going to be a lot of nights. As a sports fan of all sports, I kind of would like it to have a sport on every night. But a lot of people don't have the luxury of having the time to watch all of these sports every night of the week. So it's going to take away some of the viewers. You have to pick and choose what you're going to want to watch probably.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I'm not a baseball loyalist, traditionalist, whatever, but I think that this would be a perfect opportunity for the MLB to try out this shorter season.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people like me out there who want to get into baseball, but we don't want to watch 100. At some point, out of 100 and however many games, does watching a single game feel like it's unimportant, and it puts less of a stress on the regular season and makes the game way less entertaining.
A lot of people they just watch opening day, first couple weeks after that, and then not again until the playoffs and the World Series. Which the World Series and playoffs baseball is obviously the most important time of the year for it, and it's kind of that's what a lot of people don't. That's why a lot of people are fighting for it to get earlier, so that there won't be as big of a gap in the middle games, which is there's obviously not as many viewers at that time, so that MLB is kind of losing some viewership with the longer season. But in the long term, that's a lot of money to be wasting because you still have all those fans coming to all those games in the middle of the season. So a lot of those fans won't go. So they'll probably lose a little bit of revenue there. But
Well,
I just can't see the traditionalists of baseball letting them shorten the season because
it's like
obviously, like you said, a lot of people don't see the importance of the middle of season games, but there's a lot that goes into it with like longevity of players and how they play, and the way they do the playoffs with the points and how many games back, that will be kind of so say like your best pitcher is hurt at the beginning of the season, if you already get like I don't know 20 games back and it's a short season, it's going to be hard to come back. But with baseball, with every single day a different pitcher every single day, it makes it a lot easier not a lot easier. It makes it a lot more competitive in the long run. Because last year, take the Nats for example, they won the World Series, and at the beginning of the season, they were last place in the division. I was looking at my Twitter a day earlier, and I remember I'm about to pull it up right now actually, and at the NL East rankings at the beginning of the season, it was probably about 60 games in, and the Nats were in second to last place, and then they ended up winning the World Series. They were 6.5 games back, 60 games into the season, and they end up making the wild card and winning the World Series. So that's why a lot of people are for the long season still. And last year actually helped out the traditionalists with keeping the long season going because of the.
Well, it's like this. I know a considerably large amount of people that I would consider like baseball fans, big baseball fans, and I would say those people still probably don't even watch like 60. I mean, they probably don't even watch 50% of their favorite team's games because there's so many of them, and it's like a religion if you're gonna watch baseball that much throughout the year, and the intensity of the sport is really low. It's hard to stay super engaged with. And I just feel like the MLB is going to end up losing a considerable amount of money throughout the months of probably August through whenever the end of their season would be, early December, late November, because at that point, a bunch of fans are going to end up shifting their focus because pretty much all that we're going to have throughout this summer may be baseball because at some point it might get old.
I just realized that it'll be actually later. If they keep the traditional season, it'll be longer than the middle of December. It'll probably go into January, early February. So it'll be competing with NFL playoffs too.
Oh, that ain't gonna work.
Baseball ends in October already when they start in April. Yeah. So I could see them maybe not a completely short season like people are wanting, like taking it down to just 60 games, but they could shorten it a little bit to get it to end before the NFL playoffs and everything started with that. Because obviously there's not going to – everybody – as a college student, I watch every Braves game that comes on because I frankly don't have much to do on any other night besides schoolwork. And so I watch that. But a lot of people will have to get in bed by the time the Braves games are on and don't get to see the whole thing. I see both points of it.
I don't see what the MLB has to lose from trying to shorten the season. If anything, it's going to make. I mean, it's probably going to make them more money, viewership wise. It's going to get better ratings for television because the quality of the game is going to be much more exciting. I feel like the intensity of the game would be much more exciting throughout the regular season, and that's been my problem watching regular season baseball for pretty much my whole life. Is the intensity of it's just not there for me. Like when I'm watching a regular season baseball game, I get the vibe that like this game doesn't really matter that much. I don't know because there's so many. I mean, it just seems like something baseball seems to me like something regular season baseball seems like something that you have on in the background when you're doing something else. Like you're never really engaged with it. It's just kind of happening. Like I don't
Right.
know. I feel like most other sports, like football, you have. I mean, I get football and baseball. It's two different beasts there. You got one's way more physical than the other, but having less games puts an emphasis on every single game and makes it seem like it's more important. You know.
No, I completely understand both sides of it. I mean, I like baseball for what it is. I don't have no problem with them having a long season, but I completely see why people want the short season to happen. So I think that this would be a great year to test out the short season, but we'll see how it goes.